Yo, this is Ello Soul.
And it's that Chico JServe.
And you're listening to the Parental Advisory Podcast.
That's right, Hal.
So today we have Gary Bloom joining us today.
Gary Bloom.
He worked on Redlands Comics and a big fan of his. He was actually originally our one of our guests from our previous podcast, Kill Your Heroes. He's one of our very first guests. And yeah, we loved having him on. So yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we had Gary on the show.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to catch up with Gary.
So yeah, it's gonna be nice to see what he's doing. So, Gary, now you're back on the line, and welcome. This is now the Parental Advisory Podcast.
Welcome, Gary Bloom to the podcast.
Gary Bloom.
Woo! Ow! Yeah.
How's it going, gentlemen? How are you guys doing tonight?
It's going good. It's going good. Happy holidays to you and your family. I know it's Christmas is around the corner, but
yes, holiday season.
Holiday season in effect.
How's that bank account feeling, Gary?
How's the bank account feeling? I believe my wife told me this morning that she doesn't want to pay any more bills.
Gary, you have I believe you have a daughter, right?
No, indeed.
Oh man, so I know your bank is hurting.
We're just broke.
Yeah.
Oh.
How old?
What's that?
How old?
She's 3.5. And she is being raised rather nerdly like her parents.
Nice.
So
Yes.
got a lot of deep miracles here at Hanukkah. I feel lucky that I feel like I'm going through the Christmas thing as well. So, I get a little bit of fear.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I'm still I'm 26. Me and my wife haven't really been thinking about kids yet. We want to wait into our 30s.
Wait until you save enough money.
Yeah, that's really what I've been thinking about all the time. It's money. I remember I read this statistic where, and it's crazy how they like put numbers on us, including from a young age. But they said if you're 20 or 30, you're in your 20s or 30s, when you have a child, it's like the life expectancy. You're paying like it's like $200,000 per person, $300,000 per life, and I'm like, how can you just put a number? First, how can you put a number on somebody? And second, that kind of seems a little low for me. In a lifetime, it's $200,000. That can't be. It's got to be more.
Here's the thing, because and it's my fault, because I take my comic, and she even looked up the other day. Yeah, Yoda.
What was that, Gary? You're kind of fading out.
Oh, sorry. We went to the comic book store the other day. She looked up at one of the statues and said, Daddy, it's Yoda. So she knows what these things are. I'm going to spend more money just because I made her nerdy.
That's so cool when you
but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Definitely when you're I would assume that when your kids, follow your interests, it's really good. It's really cool.
Yeah, you're almost like a good version of Palpatine where like, yeah, let the nerd flow through you.
Let it flow. Let it flow.
She decided she wanted to be Wonder Woman for Halloween this year. And I said, who should Daddy be? The guy, Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
I didn't realize she knew who Green Lantern was.
Oh wow.
I like it.
Oh, that's crazy. Does she have like devices like an iPad or something like that?
So she does have an iPad. We're only doing the educational games at the moment.
Right.
But eventually, it's going to get nerdy.
Yeah.
Well, what I've noticed about children, including now that, and they used to say this about, I guess, us when we were children. Oh, they learn so quick. They're doing, and I'm finding that out now as I'm older, and I see like my cousins, my nieces and nephew. I give them the phone, and they know how to work the phone, and they're like 5 years old, and I'm just like, how the hell do you know how to work a phone? You've never seen a phone ever, but they just pick it up so quick. It's like their mind is just, I don't know. Maybe it's because us adults are so stressed out we can't really learn shit anymore. When we're at our age, we're just like we're stuck in the ways we are.
We're just like we're done.
But like kids are sponges; they just soak it up.
No, but listen, the great part now is that if you want your kid to pick up some nerdy stuff, I mean, like when I do it now, and I'd say it would have been great if I had had her 5 years earlier, so I'd have enough energy to go do all this stuff.
Right.
But we went to the New York City Play Fair, and she knew who Princess Leia was. Ran up to her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
and
That's
she's 3.
She's
That's
very into
crazy.
Disney princesses, but she tells me that Princess Leia, that's her favorite princess.
That's her favorite princess. That's a real princess.
Yes. One for daddy. One for daddy.
So let me ask you before we start getting into the new project you're working on. Have you seen The Last Jedi?
Yes, I have.
No, I haven't.
Well, then I gotta get a take on it. What did you think about it?
All right.
So I can do this spoiler free.
Yeah. Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect. There you go, sir.
So for everyone listening, take the things out of yours. Because here's my feeling. I saw it on the 15th. I'll give you a 2-week moratorium. If you're such a big fan that you're worried about spoilers, you got 2 weeks to see it through.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, but here's my thing. I thought it was good. For people expecting it to be Empire, understand that it's allowed to evolve. It's allowed to move in a new direction. Go into it thinking, I'm going to see a movie in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Go into thinking it's going to be the original trilogy all over again. It's foolish. So if you go in with that mentality, I found it really good.
Okay.
Were there one or two things where I thought, I don't love that? Yeah, every movie has that. There are things in the original trilogy that I think, that sucks.
Yeah, I also agree with that. Like, I've been getting a lot of fans that I know say, oh, well, the trilogy never had any issues. I'm like, no, wait. The trilogy had issues. There were some parts where you're like, okay, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, Ewoks.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Ewoks
So it's,
at the end
you know,
of the
I
day.
think it's just...
beyond that. Have you ever noticed the mats around the TIE fighters? Right, so there are things that were wrong, but we appreciate it before. You know what I mean? Come on. How long is the argument on shot work when we all know that creator would shoot it off?
Right.
But that's, you know what? If you love it, if you love the universe, I think you'll enjoy it if you haven't seen it. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Yeah, I'm good.
Complaints that I heard were, oh, it's just a remake of the original, so you know it's too much like the original. And now people are complaining about 8 and going, oh, this sucks. It's nothing like the original. Like, really, guys? Just again, go in and say, hey, I'm going to see a movie in the Star Wars universe. There are some characters that I know. There are some characters I didn't. Hey, look, if you go through, we've all seen these so many millions of times. None of us knew who Luke Skywalker was in the beginning. None of us knew the backstory behind Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, you get it into 2 and 3. No one knew who Lando Calrissian was.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows who he is. But these are all things. It's like people forget that you had to learn these things, these new things. New characters come in. It's interesting. It's better to actually keep things moving along, unless what you want to say is, I have a certain time period that I'm going to stay in, and I reject the fact that the world doesn't move forward at all. And that's fine, as you go on the internet to complain about it.
Right. Like when it came to the episode 1, I mean, like every other movie, it had its moments. It's just episode 1 was a terrible. It was just a disaster. The only redeemable thing I liked, Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, yeah.
Yeah, Darth Maul, literally.
Darth Maul, yeah.
And the
battle, the saber battles were interesting.
Yes, they
You
were.
know, and he was ferocious. And you know what? If you read the comics, and the comics are canon now, you know, I've been reading all the comics. I've given everything a shot. I even gave Poe Dameron a shot for like 6 issues. You know, it's interesting stuff, and you can learn more about it. And you know what? Maul's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I know we made fun of him a little bit, some of my friends and I originally, but the guy's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, Darth Maul. I just like the character, the aggressiveness he came with his character. I mean, just like he was just mauling people. I was just like, what the fuck? Like it was so contrast to what Jedis are. Because from what I always thought is even like Darth Vader, calm, cool, collective. Darth Maul is not like that.
Well, the beauty of Darth Maul in the end, like from the jump, you know, it was going to be already somewhat different because the double saber.
Right. Total game changer.
Yeah, complete game changer. Like when you saw that dual red lightsaber.
You know what's crazy about it? I've been playing a lot of Battlefront 2.
That shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Battlefront 2. And the way that you have to play with Darth Maul when you get to use him, it's all offense and no defense. The way he fights, it's just like, it's speed, counter. There's no defense. Like, when I use Rey or I use Luke in the game, they have a block button, but Darth Maul doesn't. His move is to jump out the way. You know what I mean?
True.
So that just tells you what kind of character he is.
It was, I think, what a lot of people, and listen, I thought it was a horribly written movie. I think a lot of the concepts that they tried to introduce were a little bit half-baked. But they were trying new things, and it was, you know, it was interesting. It was a different spin, and, I mean, look, Lucas never, ever said that he was going to hold to all the other books that were written. So, you know, he was doing his thing. But he introduced this character that was something different, and it was something, you know, I mean, in some degrees, it was fresh, you know, and it's funny to me that so many people rip on every single aspect of stuff. It's like, look, you know what? Coming up with new ideas in science fiction is hard.
It is.
You know, because in some respects, people go, oh, well, that would never happen. Really? Really? I mean,
it's make-believe,
it's make-believe.
It's
make-believe. Get over it. Like,
you know what? I sat in the movie theater when the original Independence Day came out, and you know, and there's Will Smith flying through, and there's the alien ship, and they're flying through, and they're shooting, and there's this and that, and it crashes, and all this stuff, and Will Smith runs up and punches the alien in the face, and the alien's knocked out. And you hear in the theater, well, that would never happen. So you're good with everything else until he knocks out the alien.
Yeah.
That's the part that's getting you. It's like, come on, dude. Like, and that's the thing. It's like you're going to get somebody hating on everything. Listen, I had somebody complaining about. I had on the Olympus Union Facebook page. I put up a couple different images that I was thinking about going and. I purchased some stock image to go for the cover, and I put up a couple images, and I said, you know, what do people think? This one guy starts complaining about one of the images that other people seem to like, and he's talking about how, well, you know, the planet's clearly getting light from a certain direction, while the moon that shows is getting light from a different direction. So, you know, and since they would only have one sun, and it's coming from, dude, really? Like, you're overanalyzing things to, like, you're looking at that it's a book cover, and it's Jupiter and the moon, and you're getting, you know, and he's hung up on it. He goes, you know, it's science fiction. It has to be accurate. You would never have more than one sun. And so I just wrote back, Tatooine, dude.
Yes, like, sir, you're going overboard.
You know, and it's like, look, science fiction, to some people, yes, I get it. Some people really, really want strict adherence to the science part of it. But it's, you know, it's allowed to be fiction, too. There's got to be some suspension of disbelief. And, I mean, you're willing to believe that there are lizards with laser swords that can move things with their minds. You're willing to believe that a tin can that is horribly non-aerodynamic can rip through the sky, go shooting through the stars, and move, you know, faster than the speed of light. But then you're going to complain about when one of these mythical things doesn't quite go the way that you think it should. It's just, it's you know what? Look, if you have that much complaint with some of your favorite science fiction, make your own.
That's those type of people. Those type of people I call morons. I'm sorry. Like, you're just taking it too seriously. Just it's a show. It's a comic. Let the man. Yeah, let it be outrageous sometimes.
Yeah, just let it be what it wants to be. You know.
Like, when I watch Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, they're like, "Oh, he's going up. It's a new color." I'm like, "Yeah, let it be a new color." I'm bored of blonde. Let me go with green.
Yeah,
like,
let's go. Fuck it.
Like,
he's fighting a pink dude. Why not?
Everything has to be held to like a standard now, and it's like if it's not held to that standard, it's a problem.
That's what it is. It's kind of funny that people are getting really, really hung up on. There's a. Hopefully, this is not. All right, I don't think this is a spoiler. It's a single line that is said. I won't tell you where it's said in the movie, but it's 3 words. Forget the past. Okay, I'm not going to tell you who said it. I'm not going to tell you why they said it. I'm not going to tell you where they said it. So, if somebody's listening hasn't seen it yet, don't worry, I haven't spoiled anything. But I think it's an interesting line because it fits in what's happening, but it also fits for Star Wars fans that it's like, look, and something important that if somebody's listening to this going, oh man, this guy's such a jerk, you know what? I hate all of this stuff and I'm allowed to hate. Yeah, you know what? You as a fan are allowed to dislike whatever you want.
Right.
But what I would say is that, for your own enjoyment, I don't want to tell you not to hate stuff because I liked it and I think you should like what I like. Because there are things that other people like that I don't, or things that I just haven't gotten around to trying yet. Listen, I mean, I'll be fully honest. One of my friends is a diehard Doctor Who fan. Hasn't happened for me yet. But I haven't had the opportunity because I feel like it's something that you got to get so deep into and passionate about that I don't think you can just casually watch it. And I'm not at a point in my life where I have the time to get passionate about that yet.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
I'm a huge Dark Matter fan. I mean, I've been tweeting like hell and signing petitions, and I'm trying to get Dark Matter to come back. And I've got buddies of mine who go, "Oh, why? It's a good show. I've never seen it." And so that's the thing. It's like what I would just hope is that anybody who's listening to this, it's like, listen, guys, try and find something for your own enjoyment in this. If it's something that you love, and you're going in, you're like, oh, I feel such disappointment. Okay, but was there anything that you liked? Is there anything cool? Did you have the tingle of excitement that, holy crap, Luke Skywalker's on the screen again? Little bits, even if he looks old or he doesn't do exactly the things the way you want to. You know what? There was more humor in this movie than I've felt in any Star Wars movie, and it felt natural. And
thank
I
God you just said
that my wife smacked me twice.
Oh, thank God you just said that, Gary. Natural. Specifically, that word. Natural. Because there is nothing worse, I think, especially now with these like historic franchises, like the Star Warses and the Star Treks and the Marvel universes and the DC universes and all that. I see that they're starting to go a lot with funny. They think that funny works all the time, and they just force it in there. So the fact that you said that when the funny parts happen, it feels like genuine parts in life that would happen that way. That's awesome.
So that's the thing. It's like the way that it flows is that it's not. I mean, look, this is definitely the darkest Star Wars film that I feel like I've ever seen.
Oh.
And I mean, Rogue One has dark elements, but because it is more of a military flick, so it's dark in a different way. Empire obviously has its dark points, but this is definitely the darkest that I've seen. But there are just these moments. There are just these goofy moments where I almost feel like, okay, they're not taking themselves that seriously, and that there are parts that you'll kind of watch it, and again, I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything for anybody, but there are parts you're going to watch where you're like, that was dumb. And it's like not saying that was dumb as in, oh, that was stupid, I can't believe I did that, but it's just in that goofy, I was suddenly 9 years old sitting there going, that was dumb, man. And it's cool, it's funny, and it fits, and then they move on, and they naturally move back into the conversation, they naturally move back into what's going on, and it doesn't have to, look, I mean, we're not sitting here and watching, Lincoln, okay? It's not a really heavy, dramatic flick, but it's got dramatic aspects, it's got action aspects, it's got comedy aspects, is a good, well-rounded story, and that's okay. I mean, that's or it should be okay, I should think, for it to be well-rounded as opposed to very, very pigeonholed.
Right.
Right, like that's what I'm saying. And the people, the people they go in there and they're like, it has to be, well, this person's in here and this person's in here, and they're supposed to do this thing now. This is where it's supposed to go. And then when it goes left, it zigs when it should have zagged in their eyes. That's when people already start like, oh, because now I have been hearing already that there is a backlash because, of course, it's the internet age. There has to be a backlash for everything good in the world, no matter what it is. So the fact that you're pretty much just like confirming all the reports so far online, but that only just tells me that this is a very good, compelling movie. And for the fact that it comes from the Star Wars universe on top of that, makes it like that much more awesome, especially to me, just as a fan. So
yeah, I mean, listen, so and what's kind of at least to me interesting about what I did with this whole Olympus Union thing, I actually originally had kicked off my universe about 8-9 years ago, and had done a lot of stuff with it, and then kind of put it away for a while. And this is, I mean, to use the term that everybody's using these days, I decided to reboot, right? Because I've been doing a lot of reading in a bunch of different universes by a bunch of really good authors. I read a lot of Tim J. Anderson and Michael A. Stackpole, who's freaking awesome. I feel like not enough people know. And obviously Timothy Zahn, And what I've started to find these guys do is that you can read some of the Dune prequels and anything really that John's done. And I'm actually tempted to go back and reread. I actually own the original trilogy that kicked everything back off again. I'm reading the new Thrawn book now. But what I found that these guys do is that they create this universe, and then they just set a story in it. And the story is a good story, and it happens within this universe. And so it takes advantage of certain things that are within the universe. So there are certain things that, as part of the story, could not happen if you were not in this universe. But there are also aspects of the story that they're just a good story. And so I think that's part of it. That it's like there are aspects of this movie where using the Force, if the Force didn't exist, then that part of the story wouldn't happen. But there are aspects of the story where, hey, look, you know what? I mean, it's interaction between human beings and sometimes other beings, but that's intriguing. That's what makes it a good story. And so that's why I think that it's like, look, give it a chance, and if you saw it and you didn't really like it, what I would say is, hey, wait until it comes out on demand, because on demand, $5.
Yeah, everybody.
$5. If you're truly a Star Wars fan, you truly didn't like this, I would say invest the $5 and go in with that mentality. Then just say, you know what? I'm not going to look at this as epic. Oh, it's Star Wars Episode 8, but I'm going to say this is a story set in the Star Wars universe, and let me see what I think instead. And you know what? You might be really pleasantly surprised.
Listen, people, just watch the fucking movie.
Yeah,
stop.
Relax. It's not that serious.
Seriously.
All right.
We got worse shit going on in the world.
Some folks it is.
Like, why are you?
Guys, to some folks it is. And it's I hate when people say, oh well, move out of your parents' basement. And I think I think that's an unfair statement. Because first of all, I'm having this conversation in my home office that's in my basement. And I didn't have an issue. But, there are people who are high-functioning, very successful adults. It's not, the stereotype before. But to some of them, this really is serious. This is they've got a lot of negative in their life. And so this is the one positive to hold on to. And I get it, that for some folks, it's shattering this perfect thing that you hold on to, that this is your one good thing, or one of your few good things. And I get that. I mean, I've been in times in my life where, hey, life sucks. I got this one cool thing. Cool. But again, like I said, it's not so much that I think it's like, hey, quit being so serious about it, but just, okay, this is really important to you, so try and find something good about it. You know what I mean? Look, there's a lot in this world these days that there's just a lot of negative going on. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, and I fail regularly, because I'm human, but I try to find positives in the things that matter to me. I'm a New York Giants fan, but things have not gone well this year.
I know, right? I'm a Giants fan too.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have a good draft pick this year. There's my positive.
I'm
and I look for positives as much as possible. Not because I'm that guy that wants to throw the hey, everything's great, because I am really not that much of an optimist. But I want in the things that really, really matter to me. That's what I said. Like, I went in. My wife and I had that conversation before we went into the movie, because she's newer to Star Wars. She knew it, but she started watching it because of me. And we went in, and she said, don't get too, like, don't get too tense about this or whatever. And she kept asking, are you excited? Are you excited? I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. And don't be down about it. I was like, no, I'm going in. Here's my mindset. And you know what? I walked out of it really happy because I went in with with that mindset of, I'm going to find stuff that I like about this. Sure. And, that's if I was able to find something to enjoy in episode 2 and 3, anyone can find out something to enjoy in episode 8.
For me, as long as it's not number 1, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm okay. For the Star Wars fans, around the time episode 1 came out, it was the worst time. Literally the worst time.
Well, 1999.
Compared to now.
Was it 1999, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Compared to now, I'm fine. I'm good with this movie. I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Now, Gary, you've mentioned this twice now over the conversation, and now, while I love Star Wars, it's got a 92 rating on Rotten Tomatoes right now. The audience score, though, is 53. So the people are like, boo.
Isn't that weird? It's like, because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, so you brought it up twice now. Now, Olympus, the new
Olympus Union.
This is the new project that you're on now, right?
Yeah, well, so sort of the rehash of the project that I was on before.
Right, that's actually what I wanted to get to. That's what I wanted to get to. Now, you said that you started it and then you kind of put it on the shelf, and then now you're kind of picking it back up again. When did you actually start Olympus Union?
So I probably started writing the first book. I think it's got to be like 8 or 9 years ago that I started originally, and Olympus Union came out of a project that I was doing called Pulsar's Fist, and I had some ideas and I kind of retooled them. Olympus Union, The Past Repeated was the first book. And so I had done The Past Repeated, and then Olympus Union was Drawing Battle Lines, and then The Future Reborn. And that was like my original trilogy. And then there was a character out of that who's more of a superhero that I spun off, and I did a book called Journey Hunter. And then I started doing a bunch of short stories on my website, and then I started doing some small novellas, and had a Patreon going, which I think actually still exists. If I put a book out on that, I'd probably get like $30. But so and I had been doing that for a bit, and I sort of started. I guess I kind of burned out on it a little bit because. I feel like I was trying to go in too many directions too many times. And then a few years ago was when I guess it's got to be about 2.5 years ago, give or take, maybe even 3, when the inspiration hit, where I decided to kind of go and do the Red Lance thing, which you guys obviously know about. Was my daughter being the inspiration and doing the the more gender neutral comic book, and went through and made it through 5 issues and did the story arc, and then ended up having to just shut the company down. It just didn't really do what I thought it would do. Didn't really gain the traction and the acceptance, and I was kind of just sort of floating around mentally as far as creative, and started getting this idea as I kind of wasn't doing anything creative for a while. And I've been got back into reading comic books heavily, and got into, reading again, a lot of science fiction really, really heavily, and went through, and I've done, a lot of the Dune prequels, and have more to hopefully get to, and we'll hopefully finish out the couple of sequels that came from that, and, been reading, as I said, a ton of comic books, even got into the original Transformers cartoon, and then into the Transformers comic books, the IDW stuff, and reading all of this stuff, and it sort of sparked this idea. It's like, what if I went back and retooled everything and, and made an omnibus and cleaned it all up? And so I started going back and just reading through the original first book. And I said, man, I could have handled this part better. I could have explained this better. I have 2 pages of text that are completely unnecessary in this chapter.
Yeah, you got a little bit more wisdom now.
Who's cool and not used right.
Yeah, you got a little bit more wisdom now. So you know how to.
Oh, that's really in a better writing style.
Yeah, you're a better writer now. You're a better storyteller now, and you know how to be able to take a story where it needs to go in a lot better way. Maybe not so clunky. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny about it is that I had to do, going from writing science fiction to writing comic books, I had to do a lot of research on how this stuff, and I read a bunch of different style of comic books for a little while, and I read a bunch of scripts, and just learning how to write these scripts for comic books was, and thinking of how I had to describe it so the artist would understand how to draw it, it just kind of changed the way that I looked at some of these things, and, how to sort of paint expressions with words. And it turned into something where I started thinking about some of my characters. Like, there's a character I have named Crow, K-R-O. That's just it. He's Crow. Not Mr. Crow, not Crow Johnson, just Crow. And he's this mercenary that kind of floats through the book. And he's very important in the first book, and, varying degrees as it goes on. But he's kind of a dick. What's that?
No, we were just laughing.
We were just laughing.
Yeah, he's he's kind of a dick, and I sort of elevated his dickishness. He cuts people off. It used to be I would go, there are elements of the book where I was, and again, I went through and I took the original 3, and there's still, when you read Jovian Wars, you'll see it's still broken out as the 3 different books in each one, but I slimmed a lot of the stuff down, and one of the ways I was able to do that is there are times when somebody would just be explaining something where it's like, dude, you know what? We already went through all that in the previous chapter. The reader knows what's going on, and so Crow just doesn't care. And so he'll cut people off. They're like, yeah, whatever, dude. Or he'll just make fun of people for saying something that he thinks is stupid. And it's like, you're being too formal. You're just knock it off, And then on the flip side, I have this one character who, and again, I decided to make her, so she is, and you guys will learn about all this stuff as you go through, but her name is Anat Moran, and she's the Minister of Peace, which is not what it sounds like. And she is incredibly stilted in speech. She doesn't use contractions. She is not entirely formal, but, she's a little more stilted. And what was interesting was that, I came up with Anat years ago, and then I'm actually a fan of a show that a lot of people unfortunately don't watch called Longmire. I don't know if you guys know Longmire.
I've heard of the show.
Well, the reason I started watching Longmire is that one of the lead characters on the show happens to be Cara Thrace, and I'll leave those of you who don't understand that joke to go ahead and Google who Cara Thrace is. But there's a character on there, Henry Standing Bear, who also doesn't use contractions. He's a bit more formal. But he's not that long-winded. He's nothing like me. So I started thinking, you know what? No matter how important this person is, the formality of her speech, it also feels like she shouldn't be. She's going to try and communicate what she wants done when she wants it done in the shortest amount of time possible. She wants to get it done. And so, that's one of the things I started, working through as well, and going through a lot of these characters and trying to accentuate some of the aspects of them that lived in my head but didn't really make it onto the paper, taking elements of story that didn't make sense and yanking them out, putting in things that I realized, you know what, there's a chapter here and there that showed up that it's like, it's because I want to explain this better now. And, in Olympus Union, it's set in our solar system, and not right around the corner, but, the setting is that we've got control, obviously, over Earth. We've got control over the Moon. We're doing good things on Mars. We've got orbital platforms around Venus, and we've got colonies out at Jupiter and its moons, floating around Jupiter and the moons. And the thing is that it's two aspects. There's a forced, and I don't feel like I'm spoiling this for anybody. It's a forced humanity under one banner. And so a lot of people are pissed about that. I even call reference at one point to some different places that are pissed about it. There's a short story that's free on the site that talks about how they eliminated a lot of borderlines, so Texas doesn't exist anymore, and the Texans did not take kindly to that.
Yeah, some people would
applaud
that.
I lived in Austin for a year. Texans would not take kindly if you came around and said, "Yeah, there's no Texans anymore."
Some people would applaud that, Gary.
Well, I got a bunch of friends down there, and I know that if somebody came in and said, "Hey, look, you know what? I mean, I'm from New York," and if somebody came in and said, "Hey guys, guess what? There's no New York anymore," I know a lot of New Yorkers would be pretty pissed off. So there's that pride, and so one of the things I play with is the pride factor. It's like we think we're doing what's best for everybody, and we're making this go away. And the people who care about it, sounds familiar. People who care about it don't like the change, so they kind of rail against it. But there's also this aspect of, the most important part of us going anywhere is not oxygen but water. We can, the oxygen thing is probably a little easier to figure out than people understand, when you start getting into the science a little bit. And I did, do some research on the science, but it's the water thing is really where it comes into play. And so there's an importance to water in the story. It's not it's not Dune and the spice flowing. I don't make it as overt, but it's important. But I wanted to play it up a little bit more, and I wanted to accentuate it a little bit more. And it's kind of like the in your Star Trek stuff, even with the the prequel area stuff, and I mean, there's still the ability to go out and do this stuff, and there's life, all over. And obviously, you get further out into Star Trek and the Star Wars stuff and BSD and a lot of this other stuff, it's gone beyond that. And so this is still earlier, right? And so Jupiter's as far as we've made it, and there are plans to try and get further, and a lot of what's going on Jupiter, life hinges on that, but there's this looking down your nose at it, almost like what kind of fed a lot of my thought process on the first book, which again, still lives in the first part of the new omnibus, is that the whole American Revolution mentality with the Brits and the colonies and the looking down as they're lesser folk, they're less civilized, that type of thing. So there's conflict where there probably shouldn't be, right? That you're thinking, it's like, why don't people on one side, why don't they just understand? And on the other side, why don't they just understand, right? And there shouldn't be conflict here, but there is. And then kind of also, though, playing up the, there are good guys and bad guys on every side. And some of the people, you might think, oh, well, I'm writing this as a, wait, why are you writing as a good guy now? No, wait, why are you writing as a bad guy now? No, wait, what the hell? And that's the plan.
Yeah, everybody's a critic.
Nobody's all good guy and nobody's all bad guy.
Exactly. Like, everybody's a critic. Everybody's got an opinion on what your art should be.
I mean, but that's just human nature. Everybody has they gotta want to critique everybody.
Well, yeah, but the fact that people it's the whole thing of like, listen, don't tell me to do my job. I know what I'm doing, and I'm creating this and everything. Now, from the way you're making it sound, Gary, like this almost sounds like a political / war epic / like battle, like shoot 'em up / like all in space.
It's a war, motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all of this. It's like Game of Thrones meets House of Cards with
meets How I Met Your Mother a little bit. With the comedy
or whatever the case may be. Like, this sounds like even from the however long you've had, even though you started this so long ago, you've actually managed to basically create the basis for an entire pun intended, I guess, for an entire universe, for yourself, which
that's the idea, and it's funny because there are, like, I had shared one chapter with a friend of mine. I said, I just want to get your take on how I'm doing so far with the rewrite, and he comes back, he goes, dude, is this like a commentary on like the current political climate? So, no, almost everything in this was like written 8 years ago. I just wanted to see if you liked the way that I changed the way that I described certain scenery.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's kind of funny because like I'm reading, I watched House of Cards all the way up until the end of the most recent season, and I've read all the Game of Thrones books. I'll admit I'm not up to date on the show.
True.
But again, it's what's cool is that I think that some of the overtones that we watch and that we read, they always end up influencing. I mean, that's why I even call it out in the book that guys like Asimov and Stackpole and Zahn and Anderson, that I consider them my influences because some of the ways that they've built their universes, some of the ways that they write. I started finding that in some of the Dune prequels, the guys were going and making shorter paragraphs, some of your shorter paragraphs and shorter chapters. And then I sort of noticed it again. I read Ready Player One, which if people haven't read it, go read Ready Player One.
Is that good?
It's a really good book.
Is Ready Player One that good?
Armada, I just recently, read Armada, and it was pretty kicking. And the thing is that some of the chapters, I restructure stuff. I've made some of them smaller, and they're 3 and 4, maybe 5 pages, which helps the story move kind of quickly. And then you hit something where it's an 8, 9, 10, 11 page chapter, because now it's slowing you down, and it changes the pace just by how quickly you can move through certain chapters, and things can happen that, I've also decided that it used to be I always jumped around. One chapter would be in one setting, and then the next chapter would be someplace else. And so now I kind of link a few of them together, and maybe it's a couple chapters in a row are happening in the same setting, and then we jump over to do something else. And just the desire to change this stuff up, the message behind it, I have not changed much of that at all. There's definitely a political aspect to it. Like I totally went with the mentality of taxation without representation, which hopefully they still teach that in high school. And yet I mixed some things around. There's Civil War in there. There's and the U.S. one, not the Marvel one, but there's Civil War in there, and there's Revolutionary War in there, and there's a little bit of comedy, and there's some gunfights, and there's some fist fights, and there are
it looks like you've packed everything in here
of soldiers, and there's terraforming and cool things happening, and then there's a dude in a bar, and it goes all over the place, but fits together because these are things that interest me, and part of the reason I rebooted is that I'm going to go back and then take some of the other stuff and some of the ideas that I'd sort of cast on the side, some things that were short stories, and so the first book is, and folks go to OlympusUnion.com. They can get to it very easily, but it's up on Amazon. It's a pre-order, and I think I said it just because I'm feeling cute. Either the 30th or the 31st is when it will be official. So if anybody picks it up now, and it's $2.99, so hopefully you have a few dollars left from the holiday season. You want to go grab something.
So Gary, let me
automatically to your Kindle.
let me ask you. So what do you think about the political climate right now, if I may ask?
What do I think about the political climate? So without revealing my politics in any way,
right, I
feel that there's a lot of division going on right now. There are a lot of people who, and I've seen it between friends of mine, that some people just cannot understand why you don't see the issue the exact same as they do. And people will rail against that, go, I don't understand why you can't see it like me. Why can't you understand what I'm thinking? And the person on the other end of that berating can't understand why you can't see it the way that they see it. And so there's a lot of divisiveness going on. And I hope, as the dad of a 3-year-old, I hope that it will work itself out at some point. I hope that people will become less angry, that people will become more tolerant, people will become willing to listen to each other's point of view. Look, not to draw everything back to Star Wars, but really doesn't everything draw back to Star Wars?
Yeah,
there are people who are fighting over this angry sense of this did not go the way I wanted it to, and now they are petitioning to remove Star Wars from canon and will not hear otherwise. Now, listen, there are people who are out there trying to petition things that that I agree with. There are people out there trying to petition things that I don't agree with. I make no secret of the fact that net neutrality. I'm terrified. I've already told my wife that I'm expecting our carrier to tell us that, if you want to keep accessing Netflix, you're going to have to start paying more per month. So that's something that I'm very, very angry about. I love the fact that.
Well, the good thing right now is that it's something like that. From what I researched, we're really not going to be seeing what the impact is for a while, at least the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like it's going to be a while before
it's going to take time for people to figure out how they want to exploit it, but they're going to.
Right, they're going to, and it's going to come in very small waves because. What I like everybody assumes they're not just going to come out the gate with nothing but like fees and this, because we would just reject it. We would just all right. It's something we have to. They would make us adapt to,
because there would be one service who would say, "Oh, hey, we don't do that. Come to us, and you lose an amount of business that hurts you." So, I don't expect that, but again, to me that's a problem. But again, there's a lot of screaming and a lot of intolerance on all sides. As a father of a daughter, again, I really, really hope that my daughter will grow up and be respected. As the uncle of a nephew who I happen to adore, I hope that he will grow up being respectful. And I think myself on a daily basis, am I being respectful? Am I doing things right? Am I treating my female colleagues and my female friends, not in the exact same way as I treat my male colleagues and friends, but am I treating them with the same amount of respect? So I think that's important. But again, with everything else, everybody's got their own political views, and I'm not here to debate folks on those things. I just think that, and again, it's definitely a theme that I use in not just this Olympus Union book, but in the Olympus Union universe is, if people were willing to be a little more tolerant, if people were willing to give a little more respect to one another, to folks who are different than them, to folks who think differently or who are geographically different than them, then we might have a little bit less war on our hands, and we might have a bit less people dying, a bit less things going wrong. And again, it was never my intention to try and change who we are as people with this book, but it is a little bit funny to me going back through, when I was doing all the re-edits and all the rewrites, to look at the stuff that I wrote years ago and going, crap, I wasn't supposed to be right.
Now, Gary, let me ask you something. How, as far as Olympus Union, what are you envisioning as far as like an initial run? Are you looking for like a 5-series, 6-series arc? Are you going 12? How are you looking for this story at the very least? Just without revealing too much as far as what your plans are.
Not a problem at all. So what I had before was I had I was doing sort of 4 different brands, if you will. The original trilogy spawned off stuff so that, and I'm not going to tell you too much about what happens and how things end, but I had created something called Alpha Station, was going to be one of the brands, and that was stories set out around Jupiter based around this station called Alpha Station. There's something that I had done two little novellas with, and then I was in the process of doing another longer one called Ticonderoga, and that was based on Mercury. That's actually going to be my plan is that's going to be the second thing I'm going to put out in this reboot. I had done a novella called Pirates' Lives, which was based on the short stories that I'd done about kind of a pirate-ish group called Red Scythe. And so I'm going to bring that back, and I'm going to do some more stuff with that. I may re-edit that and re-release that as a free novella. I haven't decided how far I'm going to take it with that. And then I've done this, as I said, Jerry Hunter, who is more of a superhero. And at this point, my plan is I don't know how much I'm going to look at it necessarily as sequels and story arcs the way that I did with comic books. I'm kind of looking at it as, I'm going to do these settings in the Olympus Union universe. So Jovian Wars happens, and the Ticonderoga project that I'm going to do is going to reintroduce, one of these main characters, and someone who I had introduced specifically for the storyline. And then there are characters from Jovian Wars who are going to end up in this book.
Okay.
And
little
so there will
crossover
be
action.
ties, and it's going to be in there, but it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit different. And
nice. That's awesome.
Then when I do the next one, it'll be in the universe. There will be some characters who still go through, and we'll see where it goes. I kind of take the inspiration where it comes.
That's great. Now, Gary, again, where can the people go ahead and find this at?
Okay, real simple. The easiest way to do it is olympusunion.com.
Okay.
Just check out the website, and it can take you through to everything that you want to do. If you go on Amazon, because I am only, at least at this point, I'm only releasing for Kindle.
Okay.
Since the Kindle app is free for your iPad, for your Android devices, for your iPhone, for your laptop, everybody can get a Kindle, so this is simple enough. And then, those are all free apps, and the book is only $2.99, so I'm trying to make it overly accessible. You hit Amazon.com, you search Olympus Union, and the Jovian Wars book will come up.
Nice.
And those are really the 2 easiest ways to get it.
And where can
I invite folks to come to the Facebook page, and I definitely invite folks to sign up for the email newsletter, because that's where I'll pump out stuff that I'll probably put there first, and also poll people on things that I'm doing behind the scenes, so that you can actually have an impact on the universe as it moves forward.
Okay, great. Now, and where can the people reach you at, Gary?
Well, the easiest spot I'd say is you can shoot me a line on Twitter. I'm just GB Bloom. That's GBBLOOM. People are welcome to message me through the Facebook page, the Olympus Union Facebook page as well. I do tend to respond fairly quickly, depending on what point of work day you hit me.
Sly dog.
That's good. So now, folks, I hope you paid attention. All right, and if you have been, we appreciate y'all listening so far. But OlympusUnion.com, okay, you guys got to check this out. Listen, as a fan, we've known Gary Bloom for a while now, and, time and time again, he's always come through for us, and he's, and just been, he's a ham. We just love to have him around, and he comes in, and every time he's got a new project, the first thing he does, man, he just hits us up, and he's like, hey, guys, listen, I'm working on something. If you guys want to do something, let me know. And the fact that you're always up to work with us, Gary, we greatly appreciate it. So, folks, you got to go ahead and check that out. OlympusUnion.com, on Amazon, check it out. Just look up Olympus Union, it'll pop up. The man, if you've read Redlands, and if you
haven't read Redlands, you can go fuck yourself.
Seriously. Okay.
I tell you what, guys, I actually have because I pulled everything down. If you have any of your listeners shoot you a line and say, hey, what's this Redlands thing? Where do I get it? You send them my way, and I'll find a way to get them some free copies of the.
There you go, folks. So there you go. So remember, guys, GB Bloom on Twitter. Hit him up, man, and let him know what the deal is, man. We want some Redlands too. So listen, Olympus Union. This sounds like probably one of the most ambitious things as far as I'm concerned, and frankly, I'm excited just to see because I've seen what Gary can do, and as far as a command of story, you definitely have that. So I'm definitely excited for what's to come. So I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Same here. I can't wait.
I'm going to jump on Amazon right now.
I can't wait.
After we're done here.
Yeah, I'm going to probably get mine tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Gary, thank you once again. So, give our best to the family and whatnot, and just thanks again for coming on, man. And we definitely gotta have you on again, for an update on Olympus Union and everything down the line.
Definitely.
We definitely gotta link up again.
I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it, and when I get going on the next book, then I'll absolutely come back. I'll talk to you guys some more about it. It's always fun. And listen, I'm not sure when you guys are going to post, but hopefully I can be the first one to wish you guys a very happy New Year.
Thank
you very much.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, happy New Year as well.
Happy holidays to you and a happy New Year to your family as well, man.
Absolutely. You guys have a great night. Thank you guys so much.
No problems, brother. Take care. Peace.
Bye.
So how's Gary Bloom, guys?
Gary Bloom, man.
Gary Bloom.
Listen, every time, for the people, with Gary, sorry, it's been so long sometimes, it's been a while since we caught up with him. So, the fact that he's, we're catching up on movies with him and everything like that, he's busy with the kid and everything.
Yeah. So during the interview, my fat ass broke a chair.
Yo, son,
So we're
wait,
hold on. Let me finish. So
while I crack this swisher, you go ahead.
While I'm
hold on. Before we get into shenanigans, once again, please, guys, get OlympusUnion.com. All right, GB Bloom on Twitter. Hit the man up. He's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? He's just salt of the earth, people, as they say. So check him out. All right, now. As we were previously saying,
can you do me a favor? Can you go check Rocco? See if he's all right. So let me go. So we're listening to Gary Bloom, right? It's maybe like 20 minutes in. We're listening to him. We're just and my fat ass is sitting on the steel chair tonight because I was the last show. It was really loud, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and switch chairs so it's not creaky. So I'm sitting on this steel chair, and I went to get up, and the moment I had put my hand on the back of the chair, and I guess I put way too much force on my ass to the chair to lift me up.
And by force, folks, he means that he's been sitting on it.
Yeah, I've been sitting on it, but I'm trying to get up because I'm trying to get up, and I put more force.
You should you put all your.
I put all my pressure because I'm getting ready to get up. I'm getting ready to get up.
See,
and it imploded. You heard the fucking shit snap.
It popped. It was a nice little pop.
Boom, and I'm like. Gary's still talking. Gary is still talking.
Gary's
We're trying to hold our laughter in.
Yeah.
All right. While we're trying to switch chairs.
Oh god.
And I'm looking at the chair now. It looks like a mangled mess.
Phenomenal.
It looks like I just took that shit through 5 rounds on the UFC.
Yo, UFC, really, nigga? On the WWE, you mean? Yo, like it looks like guys. If you guys, we'll take a picture and post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, of the mangled chair that I fucked up.
Of the fucking mangled chair. Dog.
Chair 0, my ass 1.
Bro, a steel chair.
Steel chair, son.
My man went through a steel
Shits
chair.
shits that make wrestlers bleed.
Yo, for like Mick Foley can't turn his head.
Mick Foley lost to the chair, and I beat the chair. So that means I'm better than Mick Foley.
Mick Foley hasn't been able to turn his head to the left since like '84, bro. So, because from so many steel chair
I fully believe that Mick Foley died when he got thrown off the cage. Did you ever think that?
This is a clone.
Did you ever think that?
Oh, you motherfucker!
No. I think he survived. But I think he died.
He's just not himself. Oh, he died and came
back.
Died
and came back.
Oh, shit.
I fully believe
totally
he
believe
died.
That. Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Or
he was at least
he
was at least close to death.
Ello, I'm telling you, that boy ain't right.
He was at least close to death. I don't know how many times. I mean, I've seen some crazy shit Mick Foley has done. When he was Cactus Jack in ECW, he did a barbed wire match where the ropes were barbed wire with Sabu, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Didn't he do like an electroshock match? Like
He probably did.
It was
I have no idea.
It was like a boxing ring, right?
Listen.
And hold on, it was like a boxing ring, and they lined it with barbed wire, and then they electrified the shit.
Listen, he probably did. Who the fuck knows?
Dog.
If you told Mick Foley, do you want to fucking wrestle an alligator for $500? Probably would, just for the fucking hell of it.
I don't know why I got the fucking hiccups all of a sudden. Ugh.
Fucking
haven't been drinking.
Server's like a baby. There's hiccups now. Benjamin Button over here. So yeah, I got
the hiccups. Wait, hold on. This is a crisis. A crisis.
Damn, you got the hiccups bad. You got the hiccups bad.
I'm fucking serious.
You sound like Timmy from South Park.
Yeah, you can't be tough and have the hiccups at the same time.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I will fucking kill you.
So I gotta.
God damn it!
I gotta talk about something.
Hold on. What do you?
Fuck your hiccups.
What do you use to get rid of hiccups?
I just try and burp. Just suck in some air and burp.
I do I just hold my breath and try not to think about it.
All right. What? You sound like you're struggling. It doesn't look like hiccups. It looks like your heart's...
Stop talking to me, motherfucker. Actually, no, you do have to talk to me because you got to get my mind off of you.
You look like your heart's stopping.
God damn it, you made me lose it now.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to intake, and then you start talking. God damn it.
How did it?
Fucking hiccup.
How did you fucking get the hiccups?
I don't know, nigga. This shit just happened. What the fuck you want me to do?
Anyways.
My body has betrayed me today, Ello. I can't fucking respond.
Anyways, so...
Oh, God damn it! I fucking hate the hiccups.
So if you've watched the Q Heroes podcast back in the time.
Yo, alright, last bit. I do have an irrational fear that I'll be one of those motherfuckers that get hiccups for the rest of their life. If that ever happens to me, I will kill myself. And that's no fucking joke.
We at least post it on Facebook.
Fuck yeah, nigga. I'm going Facebook Live, IG Live, Snapchat Live. Like, I'm gonna go to an alt-right. They're gonna call me the hiccup bomber.
The hiccup bomber, wow.
The hiccup bomber. It's just gonna be like one word. You remember the hiccup bomber in 2018, bro? That nigga was fucking crazy.
Just when the hiccup comes when he's talking. It's
like
funny.
in the news, they're like, and his last words were, "All you fuckers are hiccup dead."
Oh my god! All right.
Oh,
Can I get to what I'm fucking trying to talk about now?
Wait, I still got hiccups.
Well, who gives a fuck about your hiccups? Deal with them like a man.
I'm trying to. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, man.
Anyways.
I'm fucking going
If you watch the if you heard the Cutie Heroes podcast before, I am a avid walkie. What the fuck are you doing? Are you gargling? Mm-hmm. I've never seen somebody struggle with hiccups like you were struggling with.
Because
you're literally getting your ass whipped by hiccups.
I'm still dwelling on them. All right, keep talking.
Anyways, so I'm an avid Walking Dead fan, but I kind of stopped watching The Walking Dead after I believe the mid-season finale of season 7. I have no idea why. I just maybe because I just got busier, and at that time I just wasn't keeping up with it. I was just so wrapped up in things I was doing. So I'm on YouTube yesterday, I'm just looking at different videos and shit, just to find like stock videos of what we can use for our show, and I see this fucking this video and it says the worst Walking Dead death, Carl. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm thinking it's just a theory or whatever, because they've had theories of Daryl dying, they've had theories of Carl dying, of Rick, of so many people that it's like, yeah, it's okay. So I click it, and it's an actual scene of him dying, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
You hadn't seen it?
I didn't even know what was going on. I had at that point it was the mid-season finale of season 8, so I'm already a whole season out
behind.
Yeah, I stopped at mid-season 7. I was just like, fuck it. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, he gets bitten, basically. He gets bitten, and that's how it ended. You didn't really see him die or turn. He shows the bite to his father. His father looks in disbelief. It ends. Now you gotta. So I did some research, and they're saying that they fired him. The studio fired him, and it was because when he had his contract came up, it was ending, and he had his father wanted to renegotiate. He wanted more money, and they were just they weren't having it. Studios, you hear that with a lot of studios. Robert Downey Jr. did it when his contract ended. He renegotiated. He wanted way more money because this Iron Man was making a lot of money. It was really popular. Avengers were starting. He wanted to be the most paid. And usually studios bend because they don't want to, 1, fuck up the fan base, and 2, they want to make their movies. Obviously, they don't want to put out. Think about it. If they were to put out Iron Man 3 without Robert Downey Jr., you think Iron Man 3 would be good?
Nope.
So there you go.
God damn it! I still have these fucking hiccups.
We'll deal with them. So I'm watching. So I go back. I see the season 8 season finale, and it made no sense to me. So I had to actually watch the last 3 episodes for it to make sense, because they did some weird ass time skip, but they didn't explain to you that it was a time skip. You didn't find out until at the end. Like, he's wandering in the woods for a day already bitten. But you thought he had just got you thought he just got bit the way they showed it. So it was weird. But to kill Carl, talk about wanting to get away from the fucking comics.
He doesn't die in the comics?
No, he's not even in the comics. He's one of the major characters right now in the arc. What's going on now? I think he's been a major a character in multiple plots. So it's like if you're killing off now. My fear was, oh shit, they're gonna do. Maybe some people they're immune to it. That's what I was thinking at first. Before I found out that the whole contract negotiation, they didn't sign him anymore. They basically fired him, which confirms he's gonna die probably in the opener for the second part of the season. But to kill off a character like Carl, I know The Walking Dead kills off anybody. You know what I'm saying? But I would assume Carl is supposed to be the future, and in the comics, that's what it looks like. He's still alive. So for you to kill him off, so much before his main parts were coming, I don't know. I feel like they're killing the show. That to me probably was a show killer. I doubt that the show's going to go that much longer. It might, they might be trying to end it in season 8. What if they end it in season 8? They just go 8 seasons.
I literally can't fucking think right now.
So you want to?
I still have these fucking hiccups.
Jesus, so you're going to ruin the podcast because you have fucking hiccups?
I'm not ruining the podcast. I'm just merely saying that I still have the fucking hiccups right now. And it's weird. Like, normally, I'm done in like 20 minutes. At the most. But it feels like fucking forever. So far.
All right. Well, I got my little rant, so I guess we're just going to wrap it up.
Really? We're just an hour in?
Yeah, but you can't even fucking talk.
Well...
You're literally hiccuping every 3 words.
Yeah, it's a little crazy right now.
Just know that we're ending this podcast because Serve is a pussy.
I'm not saying that we can't talk. I'm not saying that we can't go any further. I'm just
No.
I still have these.
No.
I still have these hiccups.
No. Where your dick is, there's now vagina.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, guys. We're out of this bitch. We're gonna smoke up, and then Serve's gonna go home.
I'm gonna try to get rid of the fucking hiccups and try to smoke some of the rest of this fucking black. God damn it!
Go check out Gary Bloom. Go check out Olympus.
Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and on Facebook. All the rest of the social media shit is coming soon. God fucking damn it! I hate these goddamn. Fuck shit.
He struggled. The struggle's
It's giving me Tourette's, Ello.
The struggle's real for you, son.
I don't know what the fuck is happening to my body right now, but it's attacking me. That's the only thing I can assume.
With somebody who's not having hiccups right now, it sounds
There's a fucking mutiny.
Perfectly
There's
fucking
a goddamn
great.
mutiny in my body going on, Ello, and frankly, I'm scared.
I sound perfect right now. I am Ello Soul. That is Chico J. Serve struggling over there.
I think so, yeah. That definitely struggling, yeah. God fucking damn it!
This has been the Parental Advisory Podcast, bitches. We out.
Yeah, peace. Fuck, Jesus.